Okay, welcome back everybody. We are going to be adding a 260 Q. Well, basically we're going to be adding all of the Q model, all the twisting and modeling balloons to your toolbox today. So go ahead and open up your toolbox and let's go to Object, select New, and we'll just call this Q, capital Q with a lowercase s, Q's. Click OK. Alright, so first thing we need to do is we're going to need a reference to make the shape of the balloon. So make sure you're in the object edit mode, and then down here we're going to select the cylinder, add cylinder, and then let's go to the front view and then click and hold and drag out a cylinder, and then immediately double click on the cylinder to get the properties. And we need the start diameter to be 2, the end diameter to be 2, longitude 24, latitude 1, and length we can just make 1 inch for now, and click OK. We're going to go to Edit, Locate, Center About Origin, Edit, Rotate, and let's rotate on the X 90 degrees, so it's now facing us. And let's go to the front view and go one view, and then we're going to go to the object viewpoint and frame the view here. Alright, so this is just a reference image, so we don't need to convert it into a mesh like we have in the past. We're going to be deleting it later once we're done with it, but we're going to use it to get a quick radius here. So go to the wireframe view. So we're in the wireframe view, so now you can see it here. And we're going to use a new tool tonight called the lathe tool, and also the straight path tool. And that's this little line right here. It says straight path. Select that. Make sure your X, Y, and Z are enabled. If they're not, just right click on them to toggle them on and off. Make sure they're all enabled. Make sure your snapping up here is disabled, so you don't want that highlighted because we're going to freehand this for a second. And then you're going to go over here and you're going to click and drag a line out like this with a point on the end of it. Now you want to get this point as close as you can to this corner of your radius, and then let go. And then clicking on that same point you just made, you're going to just drag another one out, let go and click, drag out another one, let go and click, another one, let go and click, until you're all the way 90 degrees to this corner here. Alright, you don't have to be exact, just get it as close as you can, because this is again just for reference, kind of a freehand shape we're making. The only thing that is kind of critical is this starting point and this end point here need to be snapped to the grid so everything's square. So follow me here. Gonna go back to the selection tool, go to the object viewpoint edit. Okay, object point edit, go to this option right here, and then you're gonna have the selection tool ready. Make sure you have just vertex select only. You don't want these other two enabled, so just click on this so that's enabled only. And then we're going to come out here and we're going to click this top point so it's highlighted. We're going to turn snapping back on. We're going to go to the move tool, and then what you're going to do is just move this around a little bit and get it to snap to that corner. See how it's snapping to that corner? Because what's happening is it's snapping in 1/4 inch increments, but it's snapping directly to those coordinates, right there, basically 0, right where we want it. You're going to do the same procedure for this one down here. So back to the selection tool, we're going to select that point, make sure you're on the point selection, go to the move tool, snapping is still enabled, and again drag this one out and then let it snap back to that corner. Okay, we're done with that. You can go back to the object edit mode, you can turn your snapping, let's leave that on for now, because we're going to make another point here. So go back to your straight path tool here, and out here you're going to click and you'll see it'll highlight your path. This last point you made will be red. You still have snapping enabled, so go ahead and pull the line down. You'll see it wants to go straight, so let's go basically 1 inch. Gonna go 4 of these boxes, snap it all the way to there, so we got this nice straight line coming down. Back to the selection tool, back to select here, and now go to the viewpoint option here, and let's go to move, and we'll move this up so we have some room to work. Back to the selection tool, and now you're going to select your circle you've got going here, and back to the move tool and isolate Y, and we're going to drag that down. It's still snapping, we're leaving snapping enabled, and what that does is that'll snap this corner right to that corner. And then what we're going to do is re-enable XYZ. Back to the path edit tool, disable snapping, Come back out here, and you click anywhere on the path, and it re-enables and re-highlights the whole path. Click on the red vertex, and we're just going to add, again, the same way we did on the top. We're going to trace the bottom half of this. Just like that around there. And again, get as close as you can so it looks nice. And then we are going to snap this point using the same procedure. So go back to the selection tool, re-enable snapping, go to the object point edit mode, selection tool, make sure you select that point right there. Go to the move tool and move that around until it snaps to that corner exactly like that. Okay, now that we're done with that little path deal, you can click on your circle you made earlier and then hit delete on the keyboard to get rid of that. Let's go to the viewpoint and then let's frame the view. And what you see now is you've got this cool looking thing going on right here. Alright, okay, this is the shape we are going to lathe into a cylinder. And what we've made basically is a very short 260Q. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is have this highlighted. You're going to go to, if you don't know how to highlight it, click on your select modes over here. Make sure you've got your selection tool, and then just click on it. It'll turn white and have all the vertex show up. We're going to go to build, and then down here to lathe. Now, to do this, there's a few things we need to check. We want on the section, we want 24 sections. We want to lathe about the y-axis, so we make a vertical shape. The start needs to come to a point. It's not a point, it doesn't look like a point, but believe it or not, it's a point. And then the end also needs to come to a point. So basically these three straight across, y-axis, point, and point. Then click OK. That thing spins around like that. And if you go here now and go to all view, go to the viewpoint and then frame all views, you'll see now we have created basically a pill. Alright, now one more step. We're going to click on the image we just made, have it highlighted using the selection tool, highlight it, and then click hide, because this little path is still in there. We're done with that. That was just the path we used to lathe. So click on the path and then click delete on your keyboard, and then Shift H to unhide, and let's go file and save. So we are on our way here. There's a few more steps. This obviously is not, this is a 2 but not a 60. It needs to be a 260. So what we're going to do next is make this 60 inches long. So we're going to go back to the front view, one view. Let's go to viewpoint and let's zoom out a little bit. You can also use the mouse wheel to zoom out, which is what I'm doing here. And we're going to go to the Add Cube tool, click on that, and then hold and click and drag a cube out here. Double click on the cube. We're going to stay in the wireframe view for now. It doesn't hurt anything. We're going to keep snapping enabled also. Again, your snapping should be set to 0.25. And let's make our X 2, our Y 60, which is our 60 inches, and then we'll make the Z 2 inches as well. Click OK, and then XYZ enabled with your move tool. While this is still highlighted, we're going to drag this over here right next to our 260, which is right here. So I've got it right on top. You want to basically line it up with the top of it, but we're going to put it just off to the side. So line it up with the top, isolate the X, scoot it out to the side, and now we're going to isolate the Y and go to the object point edit mode, and then we're going to select the drag select tool, and then I'm going to wheel out with my mouse here and zoom out a little bit to where I can see the bottom of my measuring stick here, and then I'm going to drag select right across the middle so I get just these bottom points. So what I've selected is just the bottom points of our 260Q model. I'm going to zoom out to where I can see the bottom of my measuring stick, and then with the move tool enabled and Y isolated, I'm basically just going to drag this down. Oops, I'm sorry, forgot a step. Hold down the Shift key. If you don't hold down Shift, it's going to snap all of these points and it messes everything up. So if you bring this thing down and it looks something like this, it gets real squirrely, it's because you weren't holding down the Shift key. Alright, so we're going to hold down the Shift key. This is something new they did in the newer version of Animator. I don't know if I like it or not. So you're going to hold down Shift with Y isolated in the move tool, and we're going to drag this down and get as close as we can. And I'm going to zoom way in, and then again hold down Shift and bring this down. Now I am even with the bottom of my measuring stick. I can go here and unselect just by clicking out on the field. Zoom back out to use the snap view, object viewpoint, and then go to the smooth shaded view here, and you can see now it looks like a nice straight perfect 260Q. Alright, there's one more thing we need to do to make this so we can work with it and manipulate it and twist it, and that is we need to break it into sections, give it some latitude. We have longitude, but we need latitude. So let's go back to the wireframe view. Let's double click on our spline that we have not turned into a mesh so we can still change the values on it. And on the divisions portion, let's change the Y to 16. And what you'll see is we get all these nice divisions all the way down. So now we can zoom in here a little bit using the mouse wheel. We're going to go to the object point edit mode again. And down here, this is another tool we're going to use for the first time. This is a cut faces, looks like a knife. We're going to make sure just the points are enabled, and we want to make sure just the x-axis is enabled. And then you're going to come up and you're going to use these marks here on your measuring stick, not out here, but right on here. And what will happen is when you hold down and drag to the right, your line will snap to these marks on your measuring stick. So you just get close and drag them out to the right, and then when you let go, it puts points across your 260Q model. We've just basically divided and put a division in there. So you're going to go down and do that to each one of these. Hold and drag to the right. And again, the line should snap to the lines on your measuring stick. I'm going to do this all the way down. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Zoom back in. Continue all the way down to have all of these 16 divisions. And this will make sense later when I start showing you how to actually bend and manipulate and twist these balloons. Okay, we'll go to the selection mode and unselect those. Going to go back to the object viewpoint and frame view, and now you can see we've got all these nice divisions. And that doesn't do anything to the image as far as the smooth shaded version of it. All it does is it changes the wireframe, so it gives us places to bend and manipulate and twist this particular object. Alright, we are done with the measuring stick, so click on that to highlight it and delete it. Let's re-enable XYZ just for now, and then again select our 260Q model using the selection tool, edit, locate, and center about origin, and then we're going to go to object viewpoint and frame view, and that is the model of your 260Q. The next thing we need to do is we need to make a 160Q, a 350Q, and a 646. So I will be back with a second tutorial on how to do that, so this one doesn't go really long. So I will do that tonight as well. Thank you for watching.